Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Having played since launch back in October, I've noticed lots of new players joining the game, which honestly makes me happy to hear that despite many players quitting already, there are still new players joining and loving the game. I greatly appreciate all the support I've gotten so far, and wanted to give back and make another video with tips to help new players out. The game doesn't do a great job at explaining to you everything, so I wanted to clear some questions and provide 5 additional tips in this video. Let's get right into it. The first tip is to utilize your daily buffs. Whether you're stuck on a stage or a Dark Lord floor, or perhaps you want to do additional damage to a boss, there are a handful of daily buffs at your disposal. The first daily buff you can get is the guild buff, which grants an attack boost. This can be purchased from the guild store using the guild coins you've acquired from your 3 guild runs each day. Additionally, in the guild store there is a second buff, typically an elemental buff, which coincides with the element of the raid boss that day. In this instance, the raid boss today had a light immunity, so the corresponding buff in the guild store will be for light characters. This buff typically grants additional crit rate. Furthermore, you can get another daily buff from the raid boss bonus, assuming you're in a guild. You can get it for free by selecting it here, and this grants a small crit damage buff. With the addition of slasher mode, depending on your rank, you can also get a crit damage buff through the rewards section here. By utilizing all these accessible daily buffs, this will decently increase your team's power, and may be enough of a boost to get you over that hurdle you were struggling with before. The next question to answer is, do you need more than a 100% crit rate? The short answer is yes. Critting does not matter to your healers, since there's no such thing as crit healing, or else that would be broken. However, it does massively benefit everybody else. Having 100% crit rate is a good thing to have in the beginning, but as you progress through the game, normal enemies along with bosses will begin to have much more crit resist, and that is why you may not see all your attacks crit, even when you have 100% crit rate. Also keep in mind, you may notice that at times all your Kane's basic attacks crit, but not all his skills crit. To my knowledge, his ultimate requires additional crit rate for every single hit to crit. For a frame of reference, I tested 163% to 191% crit rate on stages 779 and 780 respectively, and all Kane's basic attacks crit. However, his ultimate did not crit on every hit. Keep in mind these crit rates were with the daily buff that granted 20% crit rate, so normally I would be between 140 to 170 crit rate. Third tip is mainly for those who aren't free to play and are thinking about spending money on costumes. The costumes effects still apply even if they are not equipped. This means as long as you've purchased the costume and say it's unequipped, then the stat boosts from them are still in effect. For characters who have multiple costumes such as Kane, the effect does stack as well. And number 4, don't be afraid to spend rubies to get more stamina. I would recommend doing this once you've gotten yourself a decent team of all 5 stars. At that point you're probably starving for stamina if you leave your game on the farm most of the day. If you go to the consumable store, you can buy 120 stamina for 30 rubies up to 6 times before the price increases to 50 rubies. This is when you should stop. This ends up costing 180 rubies in order to get 720 stamina, which is a decent amount to last you. And tip number 5 is doing your guild territory attacks on the light elemental day. What do I mean by this? Remember my first tip about getting the elemental buff from the guild store? Well, it's best in my opinion to wait until the day where the elemental buff is for light. In this case for me, it was Thursday, however I'm not sure whether it's always Thursday or if it changes, so be on the lookout for that. This is because Kane is a light hero, and I'm assuming he's the main damage dealer on your team. Therefore, it's best to do those important territory attacks when your Kane is at his strongest. The buff would grant all light characters 20% crit rate, which is a massive benefit for Kane. And that concludes yet another video of tips and game knowledge that I've acquired and want to share with new and even veteran players who may not know. I hope this information was helpful. If you learned something or you like the format of this video, please let me know by leaving a like, comment, or even better, subscribe. Your support inspires me to continue to make more videos to help the community and new players along the way. If you had anything you wanted to see in the future video, I'm open to suggestions. Thanks again for watching everyone, hope you all stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.